one of the main purposes of starting this vlog was to throw some tips and tricks that I learned through my experiences of going through my treatments and all sorts of things involved with that. So today we're going to talk about the Benjamins, talking about saving our hard-earned money and making sure that the people who deserve it get it and the people that don't get it. So the first way to save money during treatments, very simple. And that's when you go up to that counter and they sit there and tell you, okay, it's going to be blah, blah, blah. It's going to cost this much today. The first thing you should ask is ask for two prices. Ask for one using your insurance and one paying cash. You'll be surprised how many times they differ. And there is no rhyme or reason. It's not always using insurance is cheaper and it's not always using cash is cheaper. But definitely ask the question. It will make a difference. Tip number 2, always ask about parking lot discount. Anytime you go to these hospitals or these doctor's offices, there's always having to pay to park. And it gets really expensive really quick. For me, I was at the hospital 5 days a week. On the Mondays, I was there 4 to 6 hours every day, or every Monday. And so it gets really, really expensive. Even if you're just there for an hour, it could be $4. Well, if you're there an hour 5 days a week, that's $20. It starts to add up. I had 15 to 18 weeks of treatment, and man, it really got to you that every time you're driving down there, you're having to pay for it. And it's even worse if you have like a morning appointment, but you have an afternoon treatment. So you're gonna end up paying twice, or you're gonna pay to stay all day long. So always ask. For me at Baylor Salmon Center, when I asked about it, someone just casually told me in the hall, you could buy discounted parking passes at one of the gift shops to one of the particular parking garages. And so you had to buy them in sets of 5, but it was a $3 flat fee. So you could pay $3 and you had an all-day pass if you needed it. So I would use those as I needed them. If I was only going to be there for a half hour, I wouldn't use that pass. But if I was going to be there any longer than that, I would definitely use it. And you wouldn't be under that pressure of sitting there watching your watch going, God, I wish they'd hurry up, because I'm going to go over my hour and I'm going to be paying $6 or $8. All right, tip number 3. Tip number 3 is super important, and I had to learn it the hard way. When I first started getting bills, and you will get bills out the wazoo, you'll get to where you don't even want to go to the mailbox anymore. When really you should be going to the mailbox every day just to get off the couch and get your exercise in. But you're going to get bills out the wazoo. You're going to get them from the hospital, you're going to get them from the doctor, you're going to get them from people you don't even know, lab tech services and everywhere. And you don't know what you're getting billed for. So here's what I learned. Organize them by date, not by vendor. So I was originally saving that the ones from my doctor I was saving in this folder, the ones from my Texas Oncology I'd save in another, the one from the lab department I was saving another. And here's why. I changed that. Had to change that, and here is why. You have to pay very close attention. I have this bill over here from one vendor and this bill over here from another vendor for the exact same day, the exact same services. They were off by 50 cents, and it drives me crazy that one of them owns the other, so they bill for both of them, and then they hope that you're going to pay for both. And in the beginning, I know I must have done that 5 or 6 times, and it pissed me off once I figured out what they were doing. So don't fall for that. You can actually look at the itemized lists in both of these, and you can see your services. Sometimes it will even list them with the same PO number because they are owned by the same company. Sometimes they're not. So you need to make sure that you're very careful of that and list them by the date of service. Create you a binder, get you a binder with a bunch of folders in it. And for those people who are always wanting to help, that is a great way to help a cancer patient or any patient that's going through a long series of treatments. Help them organize their bills because they don't want to do it. It's very frustrating. And even for someone like me and the treatments that I was going through, you run into something called chemo brain. It's a weird thing that makes it really hard to think, and you're thinking you're focused and you're on point and you're trying to read all the fine print and whatnot, and it becomes a struggle. I'm not kidding when I say I think I paid probably $1,800 in double bills. And that is coming from someone who's very meticulous in what he does when it comes to that kind of thing. It's very sneaky how they do that, and you want to be very careful. Tip number 4. All right, this is an easy one. When you go up to pay and they're asking how will you pay today, and they always give you the full amount, ask them if there is a payment plan. You'd be surprised, they just want some money. And if you set it up and you say, hey, I can pay, what is the minimum I can pay today? And for $500 bill, a lot of times it'll be 50 or 60 bucks. They just want to get you started. If you show that you're going to do that, then you're saying that I am trying to make an effort, I'm going to pay for this. Versus there's a lot of people that never pay those bills at all. And that's the same way if you ever get bill collectors calling. Is it as long as you make payments a little as you go, then they're fine with that. And just be prepared for that. So make sure you always ask, is there a payment plan? And then try to honor it, because I got to one point to where my doctor said, look, if you don't pay something, you can't come in anymore. Well, I'm in the middle of treatment. I need to come in. And then that's where I learned that if you just ask, I think I had to pay 20 bucks on an $800 bill just to keep it going. And they were fine with it after that. And they got their money after all of it was said and done. It's just when you've got scans and you've got prescriptions and you've got everything else coming at you and you've got no income coming in, it's really challenging to make sure that you're treating everybody fair. All right, last tip of the day. This one's just kind of personal preference, but just because a doctor prescribed you a medicine doesn't mean you need to get the prescription and doesn't mean you need it again. And here's why. For me, I had, every time that I went back to the doctor, they would come across and say, oh, well, how are you feeling today? And I would tell them, and they'd say, oh, you're not sleeping well, or that you've got some pain. Let me write you a prescription. Let me write you a prescription. And after about a month and a half, I realized that I had like 4 different nausea medicines. I had 2 different pain medicines. I had something to help me sleep. I had multiple things of the same stuff. So if it's not bothering you because you're not taking the medicine or it's just a natural part of it, don't get it. It's okay. You can go that route and save yourself a lot of money. I really, in the first 4 or 5 weeks, every time that they wrote me a prescription, I'd run to the pharmacy and I'd get it, and I didn't really need it. And especially towards the end, when I was looking back through my cabinet of all the medicine I had, I cannot tell you again how much nausea medicine I had, and I hardly ever took it. It was just a natural part of going through the treatment. You were going to get sick. So think about when they prescribe something to you, especially if it's something you already have. If it's something that's not working, absolutely go take it. But if it is something that's just a repeat of the same thing, again, I had an oncologist, I had a radiologist, I had general lab test people. Everybody was willing to write me a script. So just be careful with that. All right, so once again, to wrap this video up, I want to make sure to thank for #IRunForMyGirls.com. I want to make sure that you like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. And then also there's a GoFundMe account down there for the Sweet Relief Musicians Fund. Make sure you check that out. It's down there below in the comments. And then we also have the Facebook page. So if you're on Facebook, search Ride to Rattler and like it and share it. Share it's the best way to do it. If you don't have money to donate it right now, that's great. Sharing stuff is free. Y'all go out and have a great day. I appreciate it.